Good day everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are looking at making your virtual hands interact with the environment, so basic physics on your hands. In the previous episode we set it up our basic custom player controller, so we're actually going to be using it. As you can see, there's only one script, and then also just all the objects are preset. So to start off, we're gonna change this name to right hand position, and we can change this one's name to left hand position. To set up the system that will take care of interacting in the world and actually ensure that your physical hands don't go through objects, we are going to be setting up a basic physics constraint. So it's just going to be like a thread between two objects. The one object is going to be where the position of a hand is, and the second object is going to be the position of the physics-based object. So if your virtual hand goes through something in the world, your virtual hand will stop and actually interact with the virtual object. We're going to make it a child of the hand position, and we're just going to be keeping the name except for making it right physics constraint, and we can add another one, physics constraint on the left hand, and we're just going to be making it a left hand physics constraint. Now that the constraints are actually set up, the objects are actually set up, we should actually go and look at all the settings. So the first thing that we're going to be going to is disabling the collision. We don't want the constraints to actually collide with anything, so we're just going to be deactivating that, and we are going to be changing the projection layer, linear, so it's just basic strength. I'm just going to change that to a higher value of 1300. All values that I'm going to be changing in this project, you have to actually go physically play with them. I will tell you which values you should look out for, so that it doesn't force the object to actually go into the object that you're trying to avoid. So on the limiters, we're just going to make them all 3, and then under the monitor section, we're just going to be activating all the checkboxes. We're not going to change any of these values except for the strength. We're going to take it up to 500. This value I've seen worked the best. It's best you play with this value, but at the same time don't make it too high, because if you make this strength value of a position too high and you actually put your controllers through, let's say, the wall, at some point your virtual hands will then also be popping through the wall because of the strength of the position monitor. And we're just going to be changing this to 50. The next thing that we're going to be looking at is the angular motion. We're going to change this to twist and swing. Reason why we're changing it to twist and swing is this is my own preference, but if you actually move your hand really fast, it will not just be like a one motion type of thing where it will just follow your hands, but it will actually have a bit of an extra motion of going over the object and coming back, but I'll show you that in a second. Just select the twist and swing and change this value to 1500. Same on the bottom, twist and swing, and this again to 50. That's all the settings that you have to actually change. I would definitely tell you to go and play with all of the strength values, preference to your own project. You can also change this to the slurp, and then, but if you do that, if you change the slurp, you only have those values. So at the end of the day, it's your own preference. Go and play with these values. Go play with between those two settings, which one is going to be best for your own project. The last thing that we just have to do is we have to ensure that the physics constraint is actually zeroed out on the location, so it will be exactly where the hand is. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to select the physics constraint on the left hand, and I'm just going to be doing the exact same thing. Okay, the last object that we're actually gonna be adding is our virtual hands. So selecting the motion controllers, selecting the right motion controller, I'm just gonna add another cube, and I'm gonna call it our hand model. Select the left hand motion controller, add a cube on that, and also call it left hand model. Okay, so for the properties, I'm just going to change the scale to 0.1 on all axes, on both cubes, and I'm just going to change the color of the material to a different color, just so that we can see exactly what's going on. At the moment, you'll see there are two cubes, but it's just going to be there for showcasing. At the end of the video, I'll show you how to just deactivate the visuals of the first cube. The last thing that we'll have to do is actually set up the collision. So on the right hand position, we're going to change the collision to, instead of block all, we are going to say custom, and we're going to make it ignore all. Same on the left hand position, changing from block all to a custom, and just say ignore all. On the left hand model, just ensure that when it comes to the collision, it will say block all. dynamic. Same on the right hand model, just to ensure that that setting is active. On the event craft, we're going to go to the event begin play, and we're going to actually add a sequence. The first one in the sequence will definitely be to set tracking origin. Remember, this is just for Oculus and Vive. In the future I'll show you how to set up for the Google Cardboard and PSVR. Some settings are just a bit different. So after we made the sequence, just gonna bring in the right physics constraint, and we're gonna say set constraint components, and this will assign all the components of the constraint instead of actually going to the constraint and manually adding the names and stuff like that. So we're going to start on the right hand. The first constraint is going to be your right hand position, and the second constraint is going to be your right hand model. And then the last thing that we want to do is drag off from the right hand model, and we just want to enable physics. Set simulated physics, and hook it up after the constraint. And remember to actually activate the boolean for the simulation. Just connect that up to the sequencer, and we're gonna do exact same thing with the left hand. So we're gonna say set constraint components, and we're gonna bring in the left hand position and the left hand model on the second component. And then we're also just gonna set simulated physics on the left hand model. And we're just gonna hook it up to the sequencer. Gonna complete, save everything, and that's about everything that you'll need to be doing for code-wise. Let me quickly jump into a VR set, press play, and as you can see, we have two cubes. At the moment I'm fortunately a bit far away from table. Let me quickly just change that. Play again, and we're at the table. And as you can see, the white cubes represent where my hand is, and the blue cube is actually my virtual hand. And as you can see, they will stop and actually interact with the physics on the table and all other cubes. And I can actually pick up the cubes by putting both hands together without any code necessary to pick up objects. This is one way of actually interacting with the world. If this is a mechanic that you would like in your game, that's basically how you do it. Quickly jumping out of VR, and I'll quickly show you how to hide the controllers of the position. Okay, so all of that works. Now we go back to player script, and we're gonna go to a right hand position, and just deactivate its visibility. Okay, that is about everything that you need to be doing for making physics-based hands. If this was educational, remember to like. If you enjoyed the video, for any future content on virtual development for Unreal Engine, remember to subscribe and stay notified when the next video is coming up. And I'll see you all in the next video.